Amidst the controversy in the Western lung of the church over the Mass, liturgy, worship, TLM, Novus Ordo, SSPX, etc., many Latin Rite Catholics ask me, as a Byzantine Catholic, well, Father Tom, just wait till the Pope changes your liturgy. Or how come he hasn't changed your liturgy? Well, first of all, that would never happen. It can't happen because it's a different liturgical tradition. There are different liturgical traditions in the church, East and West. So to do something to one, take something that you've done to one and try to fit it over another entirely different liturgical tradition just wouldn't happen. It wouldn't fit. You couldn't do that. And in fact, and I don't know why this is. I know this is a source of consternation to my Latin Rite brethren. I don't have the answer to it. The question is, well, why is it that the Vatican, the popes, several popes, a number of popes, have very clearly said and helped the Eastern Catholic churches to be totally faithful to their ancient liturgy? Pope Francis even went to the wall for that. Yeah, that's another story I'll have to tell you about. Pope Francis went to the wall, took hits for the Eastern Catholic churches, for them to preserve their authentic ancient traditions. There's a whole document of the Second Vatican Council that tells the Eastern Catholic churches, be faithful to your ancient Eastern traditions. You see, I don't know why that is. And yet, in the Western Church, the recent popes have not encouraged their people to be faithful to their ancient Mass, in this case, the traditional Latin Mass. I don't know why. All I know is that for the Eastern churches, the popes have ardently insisted we be true to who we are. Of course, we love that. See, for us, the document of Vatican II is a wonderful thing because it brought us back to any tradition, any part of a tradition that we lost. In fact, that's what the document said, and the popes have said. If you lost any of your traditions, get it back. One thing, though, to remember is in all this discussion, when it comes to liturgy, worship, it does have an evolution to it. It does change over time. However, got to be careful of that. It should not change in certain essential forms, but it does change based on times. For example, in the Byzantine liturgy, BRL, so we get TLM, BRL, Byzantine Rite liturgy, since we're into abbreviations all the time. In our liturgy, we have a couple of processions that happen during the liturgy. Those processions in our earlier liturgy, years ago, centuries ago, used to occur outside, and then it would enter the church. In fact, the beginning of our liturgy, the procession started in the town. It was a way of gathering people, knock on the doors and singing songs and antiphons and so on, and gathering people to walk to church together, to the designated church where the liturgy would be for that Sunday. These were grand processions that were outside. Well, we don't do that anymore, but we still do a procession. The procession and the meaning of it is retained in our liturgy today, just that we don't do it outside and through the streets. At least not for every liturgy. There are times we do process through the streets. So this is the type of thing I mean. You can't change worship, liturgy in an essential form, but you can change aspects of it just based on how the times change, circumstances, and so on. So this is something to remember when we had this whole discussion about liturgy and Mass. You have to be careful, and this is my message to those of you who are involved in the traditional Latin Mass. I mean, God bless you, but just remember, you have to be historically correct here, that worship did evolve, and worship can change, but not in its basic format and essence. The traditional Latin Mass that you know today was not always exactly the Mass in the Western Church. And in fact, in the Eastern and Western churches, early on, the language of worship was Greek, not Latin. Then eventually in the East, we took on the language of the culture, the vernacular. In the West, they settled on Latin. So you see how it works? There are changes. There are what you might call organic changes, but not in the essence. And there's one thing I will say too, and I cannot emphasize this enough. In the Western Church, if you want to go to battle for anything, I highly recommend that you go to battle in your Mass to turn that altar around. Remember around Reagan, Mr. Gorbachev, take down that wall. Well, Father Tom Loya, a Byzantine Catholic Church, saying to my beloved Western brothers and sisters, turn that altar around. Liturgy worship is to be ad orientem. Ad orientem. Listen to Benedict XVI, what he said. He was right. It's ad orientem. But amidst that, there are times when the priest does face the people, but only at certain times. We'll get into that later. So, remember, liturgy